into game number 1 on 2000 Atmosphere, spawning down on the bottom left. He is the blue Zerg player. Give it up for Bly.
And his opponent up in the top right-hand side in the red, repping Germany. It is. I'm kidding. It's France, right? He's French.
Yes. Yeah.
It's PtitDrogo. Sorry, boys and girls. It's a very early morning for me here. Drogo up in the top right-hand side, and it's going to be a fabulous, absolutely fabulous matchup. Now, Steadfast, for those of you who don't know, can you explain a little bit about yourself and why you might bring some particular expertise to a Bly match?
Well, you know, I fancy myself on building hatcheries outside of my base, and no, of course I am a Zerg player. Love the little swarmy boys, the little cute Zerglings, Carbot. Yeah, and Bly, of course, a lot of nuance to his play, so I'm a very big fan of analyzing the little subtle moves he does make. But starting things off, we don't really have anything crazy from Bly. No proxy hatch.
Which is wild in and of itself, man. No proxy hatch from Bly is a lot of fun. Now, he's taking this aggressive third base, obviously, but I think that's just because he's blocked off by the probe. But yeah, no proxy hatch at all. This looks like pretty standard hatchcast pool stuff from Bly. Now, he's taken the triangle third base, which is really interesting. You know, normally I'll see Zerg players taking this sort of 6 o'clock base as well. Or, pardon me, 6 o'clock base instead of the triangle base. How do you feel about the more aggressive hatch placement here from Bly? Does it indicate anything about his play for later in the game?
Yeah, it potentially can. It's definitely just a situation where he, you know, was forced to take that third base away from where he wanted to, but elects to take one that does kind of let him get that creep spread a little bit further advanced. And, well, anyone who has seen Bly's play recently knows that he has become a very, very big fan of the Hatch Tech Queen Walk builds. So no layer, roaches, ravagers, and a crap load of queens, and just getting across the map as quick as possible.
Looks like that's definitely a possibility. By the way, Steadfast, chat saved my mic a little quiet. I don't know if you can adjust that in your settings on your side, maybe.
Yes, yeah, I've already made some adjustments there.
You're such a freaking pro, Steadfast. I love you so much, buddy. By the way, chat, hello to all of you. Steadfast and I, of course, will be responding to chat as best we can. We're here on a 3-minute delay to preserve competitive integrity for our players. So we'll get back to you, and don't be afraid to say hello in the chat. Talk about the games a little bit, and we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. But again, we are on a 3-minute delay, just to make sure, you know, none of these players are dumb enough to try and cheat on stream or something like that. But just to make sure there's no whiff of foul play. How do you feel about the Stargate opener here? Oracle first out of PtitDrogo, which looks like a pretty standard Protoss opener so far. And there's no Twilight Council, no Robo yet. Looks like he's just going straight with the Oracle. In fact, double Oracle out here. I like this play.
Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of players move away from the pure Void Ray style. It is still a thing. You still see like Void Ray, Oracle, Void Ray, or you know, sometimes even a couple Oracles into that. But we're starting to see more pure Oracle play return. Bly, by the way, did slip that Zergling in, so he's seen this Stargate, so that's really, really good for him. And that is going to trigger this very aggressive creep spread coming across the map, as we'll see. He'll really want to get something done with this. Like, he'll really want to get something done with this. But yeah, with Drogo returning with these Oracles, first of all, he's going to have to deflect this very early aggression, and he's gone for 3 spores. No Lambo plays here where you skip those spore crawlers and rely on queens.
Yeah, absolutely, and there we go. Of course, this Oracle getting pushed away. Not a single kill, I don't think there. 1 drone maybe going down. Not nearly enough damage, though, for both Oracles. Of course, Drogo keeps both of them alive, which is great, and he's adding on, look at this, Steadfast, a 3rd Oracle back home. Are we going to see a 4th Oracle out before too long? Now, that could be really exciting. It's been a long time since I've seen like a 4 or a 5 Oracle build out of a Protoss player. But as you said, lots of queens out for Bly, and look how far forward they are. This creep highway already spreading quite a way across the map, making a beeline for that 12 o'clock third base for Drogo.
Yeah, this is going to be really dicey potentially for Drogo to deal with. And look at what he's going for. He's going for, oh wow, 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 wow. Okay, so this is kind of a bit of research being done from Drogo. He is not getting any tech right away. He has gone for a forge and 3 additional gateways before adding on that Twilight Council. He is going hard on units, which is going to be so good if Bly does decide to go for that push. But as I say that, we actually see him pump out a bunch more drones.
Yeah, interesting. I definitely thought Bly was going to be a little more aggressive there. Look at these oracles as well. Grabbing one queen, grabbing a second queen, even stopping some of those creep tumors from going down. You know, I was almost making fun of him a little bit earlier there for going for 3 oracles and not getting much done. But 2 queens and a couple of creep tumors is super good damage for these oracles who are starting to lose value as they get into the later game.
Oh, he does keep all of them alive, though. And, well, that is really good. Getting 3 drones, 2 queens. Yeah, you definitely want to get as much damage done early as you can with those oracles. Of course, any drone damage done earlier on does tend to snowball more effectively. And that's always a nice thing. Now, look at this. We've got an infestation pit coming out of Bly. So if Bly isn't going for a queen walk build, well, there's a good chance he might go swarm hosts. And that is exactly what we're going to be seeing. Oh, that oracle. Well, actually, we're going to see a cancel. Okay, nice job from Bly managing to get that cancel. Always a little bit dicey.
Very difficult. You know, I feel like I say this about every cast that we have, but it's a reminder to everybody back home that what you're watching right now is the absolute top tier of StarCraft. In the European DreamHack qualifiers right now, we've got 32. No, that's not right. It is right. 32 of the top players in the world, Steadfast. And little things like cancels and kills, you know, the split-second difference between canceling at the last minute and a kill is, it seems simple, but it's an incredibly, very, very difficult thing to get exactly right. And I just think everybody needs to keep that in mind and be a little bit incredulous and a little bit in wonderment of just how freaking good these players are.
No kidding. And, ooh, nice little find right there for Bly.
As I say that, Drogo throws away his oracle for free. Come on, Drogo. I was just talking you guys up.
It's always, it's so funny because, like, it really does make me think there is some kind of caster curse energy out there, you know, like just absolutely inflicting its will upon things. Look at this. We've got a Spire coming down after Bly boots up 7 Swarm Hosts. So we talk about Bly being a tricky player, and, well, nothing trickier than Swarm Host into Muta, potentially.
That's fascinating. Bly giving himself all kinds of options, but I'll be honest, look at the units lost tab, Steadfast. He's only lost 5 drones this game. Yeah, like, technically he's theoretically behind in minerals lost, but that's exactly what a Zerg player wants to be. He's up on 69 workers, 107 army supply, and while he hasn't done any damage to Drogo, Drogo has not been able to stop Bly from doing whatever build Bly wants to do. I think a lot of us think of Bly as just like a cheesy player. He just does weird stuff, but you cannot make it all the way to DreamHack by just being a cheesy player. Bly has fantastic mid-game and late game as well. And even these DTs sneaking into the base are not going to be enough to stop him from getting across the map with these swarm hosts and then switching into mutas from there.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a really strong play. This is still a nice little bit of damage. This is gonna find, yeah, 5 drones. Oh, no, 4 drones, and we'll get. Oh man, where's that overseer? Ugh, chugging along like a 1900s locomotive right there, taking its sweet time getting there. Oh no. And the DT, hold position from Bly, very nice.
Excellent work at the same time. Of course, there's that Locust, Swarm Host Locusts up into the 3rd base. Going to get 5 probes of their own and clear out a shield battery. That's actually a huge win there. The shield battery in the mineral line is so valuable, especially against those Swarm Host plays. It can top up some probes or even top if you want. The Nexus now with no shields and the Swarm Hosts ready to go for another round very soon, Steadfast. But Drogo moving out with a big army. Disruptors are now out, as are Stalkers and Sentries. Both armies looking very, very dangerous.
Yeah, Disruptors are kind of a weird case against Swarm Hosts. You got to be really, really careful with them. You got to be very conservative with your shots, but you also have to be extra conservative with their Locusts. In a sense, Disruptors are kind of like extremely mini Swarm Host in that you have a timed shot and then they're useless while they're on cooldown. Oh, that's a nice find on the Archon right there. And if he can get this Nexus, that would be huge. But I don't think he's going to be able to with the army moving back. And Bly agrees. He's just going to take out what he can. And, going to target us. Nope, not going to get that Disruptor. Doesn't even get the shield battery, actually.
Yeah, smart play, though, from Bly. You know, go for the guaranteed damage. There's no point in getting a Nexus to half health. Because you know what a Nexus health still is, Steadfast? a Nexus. Like, it's still okay. Some slow banelings here. Bly trying to pull a full-on rogue to sneak into 12 o'clock base, but that's revelated very quickly. And now the Swarm Host popping in behind this to follow up with another big push. Now, this Nexus earlier that got a half its health down is going to get nailed by these Swarm Hosts very quickly, and Drogo's got to rotate his army over and find some damage on these Swarm Hosts if he can.
Yeah, and he is going to be able to kind of intercept this here. And, okay, we are going to see a nice target fire on that Disruptor. Does take it out, but a good Disruptor shot from Drogo clears out the remaining Locust. Now, you still got to remember, those are technically free units, so that's still a decent little win for Bly. Drogo, he is going to have to cancel this 5th base on the right side, but he will find a kill on Bly's 5th base, and that ends up being a bit of a wash, which I think is probably good for Drogo.
Yeah, probably. If you can keep the Zerg back on bases while keeping your own bases up.
Oh,
Not too bad at all. Feelings, though, getting so much done. 20 probes going down. Is it going to be enough Steadfast? Drogo's army looks very well-rounded and very scary here.
Disruptors, 2 of them getting taken out. They don't really get the greatest shots. Ooh, an Observer going down right there to that Spore Crawler. And there's a fungal growth in here, and he won't be able to catch much with it, but he gets a couple of extra Stalkers. I think that was really good for Bly. That was a lot of the power of Drogo's army kind of getting siphoned off there. And look at this, we've got a double fleet beacon coming down from Drogo. A little bit of a mistake right there, but he will be going up into that carrier and or Sky Toss transition.
Steadfast, I've increased my volume just a little bit more. It looks like I'm still not super loud. We'll see if I can fix it from my end, but that's all right. And you're right, Sky Toss going to be coming out now from Drogo. We got the carriers on the way. I think it's going to be a good transition for him. He's just got to stay alive for a little bit longer here. Remember, these Swarm Hosts are trading money for nothing and chicks for free as the Locust rather, taking out units here. All these Swarm Hosts still alive. Look at the units lost. He hasn't lost a single Swarm Host yet this game, Steadfast.
That is actually incredible. He is so efficient. He's almost doubling the efficiency. He just took out 8 Blink Stalkers, by the way, with those Swarm Hosts, and only lost Locust. And meanwhile, Baneley's getting in at the top side, taking down another 5 probes. Drogo is getting kind of ripped apart right here. Oh, big Blink forward. He does take down the Infestor, and now the Disruptors are going to find a couple of shots as well. But more Lings getting into this 3rd base is going to be more and more losses. And now we're going to see a recall come down, and Bly... But he's just gonna head on out with those units. Oh, looks like he just barely holds this base. That must have been some DTs. Yeah, DT's trying to slip in on this base, just barely not taking it down. But now we have Lings into the main base. They scout the carrier transition. Lings into the natural. So much damage being done. And Drogo is down to just 48 probes. But Bly's only on 56 drones.
Yeah, this has been a really interesting mid to low econ game for both these players. A while ago, of course, it was 70 drones and 70 probes on both sides. This is fantastic, man, from both sides. I think playing these low econ games while getting a big army up really shows that they've been on point with their defensive, or pardon me, on point with their offensive capabilities all game. Now, a couple Disruptors going down to Swarm Hosts up here at the 3 o'clock base, and you've got the real aggression going now at the 12 o'clock. Another Ling run by, and this looks really, really nice from Bly. He is more than happy to throw away Lings because look at his bank Steadfast. He is building up that monopoly money, whereas Drogo scrapping for every single mineral. He can't even build one more carrier because he just can't afford it right now.
Yeah, he's on 37 probes. Look at the number of workers that have been killed. Nice. 69 workers have gone down. I didn't even plan that. That was just...
That's just because you're a damn good caster, Steadfast. That's really impressive. Now, here's the real problem, is that the army supply looks like it's not very good, but if you actually open the army value tab, you'll see that PtitDrogo's army value significantly higher than Bly's. Well, not significantly higher, but a little bit higher than Bly's here. So even if you look at the army value or army supply and you're like, oh, it seems like Drogo's or Bly's way ahead here. If you look at the army value, you'll see these players much more evenly matched. And of course, the economic situation way in Bly's favor here, and Drogo is really going to struggle not only to save this 12 o'clock base that's about to go down, but he's going to struggle to engage in this bottom base at the 6 o'clock as well.
Yeah, he is, and especially once these Broodlords actually pop on out. Ooh, big Baneling connection is going to take down a big amount of that army, and Drogo falls below 100 supply. He is going to find this 5th base once again, but Bly doesn't really need that with how poor the economy is. He really just needs to kill the army, and I think he's going to be able to do it with these Broodlords.
Yeah, I I think so. You know, broodlords are often thought about as a siege weapon, but to be honest, steadfast, nice disruptor shot there, but it's Ravagers. I don't think cares a whole lot at this point. Swarm hosts are usually thought of as a really nice siege weapon, but they're actually quite good at defending bases as well. When they stay back on the 12 o'clock base, they've got that little tiny choke point there. They're just trying to clear out. Very easy for them to do it. And Drogo knows with the loss of the 12 o'clock base, it's just not going to work steadfast. GG. And Ukraine's Bly grabs game number 1.
That was really, really clean out of Bly. He looked so sharp right there. It's funny to say clean in a game that was so chaotic, but
Yeah.
like that is Bly, isn't it? Like he just always looks comfortable, even when the game turns so far on its head that it's a full 360. It's come back to normal standing, and Bly is always he's like a chicken, you know, with his head's just on a swivel. He's always oriented correctly. Oh, what's the name for that? They have it for cameras. It's like so that it's always stabilized.
Three-dimensional stabilization. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. I've seen a Mercedes ad for a long time as well. I understand. Well, I'll tell you what, Steadfast, that was a fantastic game number 1. We're going to hop into game number 2 very quickly, guys, but we do need to run a couple ads to thank our sponsors who make ESL and DreamHack possible. So Steadfast and I are going to be right back after about 3 minutes or so, and we'll get into game number 2 here right after that. Steadfast, give us a quick break if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Just going to put up that 3-minute timer and we will be back. And we are back. Once again, back with game number 2 of this fantastic looking game, looking series already. I'm feeling pretty excited about this. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so good, Steadfast. Like, absolutely wonderful start to this absolutely wonderful start to this day. We couldn't have asked for a better match to start things off with Drogo versus Bly, like two legends of the EU scene. Absolutely fantastic. And Bly getting the win in game number 1, I think is like a little bit unexpected. I think Drogo probably the favorite to move on here. But I tell you, I know you've been casting well. I'm sure you've seen a ton of Bly. This guy is getting better and better and better.
Yeah, he's at this point he's more like a fine wine than a player, you know? He's he just continues to get you know, juicier, sweeter notes and just becomes stronger and more flavorful and more attractive over time.
You sound like a child trying to describe what he thinks wine sounds like. You're like juicier. Wine gets juicier, right? I'm just teasing you, man.
It's just grape juice, right? Yeah, it's just flavored grape juice. And well, on that rousing note, we're getting into game number 2. And here we go, spawning down in the bottom left position of Blackburn. It is the blue Zerg player up 1-0. Give it up for Bly on fire.
You on my camera this game, Steadfast?
Oh, sure.
Rock and roll. I like to feel useful since you're doing all this awesome production work. And on the bottom right-hand side, in the red, representing France, he is PtitDrogo, which, fun fact, means little pharmacist in French. It's true.
Little farm. Does it really?
No. Drogo
Yeah, of course it does.
Drogo is French for pharmacist, I believe. But I don't think that's the actual intention of the name. I think obviously the name is supposed to mean big chungus.
Yeah.
No question.
Of course, Khal Drogo being the biggest chungus of them all. Yeah.
That's obviously what we're talking about.
Yeah. 100%.
Jeez. Obviously, what's really interesting about this match is that Bly has no team, and Drogo actually has no team as well. So these are two teamless StarCraft 2 players bumping up against each other. A little rare these days, Steadfast, as we see sort of common openers from both players. Hatchcast Pool from Bly, and Drogo with the Gateway Nix on the low ground. It's a little interesting to see two players with no teams to support them, making it so deep. There are only, it looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players overall. 7 players overall that don't have a team here in DreamHack. And, you know, we see a lot of players with team support, but it's a little interesting that both these guys teamless and still making it so deep.
Yeah, no, it's actually very impressive, to be honest. There's now, granted, it's I believe Drogo was seeded in based on last year's results, and Bly did have to qualify. He was in the so the way things were kind of split up was a little bit weird. The top 16 players were seeded directly into these group stages, and then the next 16 players, 17 to 32, were seeded into the closed qualifier, and then another 16 players were made from 2 open qualifiers into that closed qualifier, and then out of the 32 players total, 16 made it back out. Yeah, in basically a double elimination bracket.
Yeah, it was really cool qualifiers, and I know some of us, I think Steadfast, you maybe covered a few of those, but really interesting open and closed qualifiers that we went through last week. You know, if you're seeing players here, it's not because they're here from luck or because they have the right connections or their talent managers called ESL DreamHack and were like, oh, my guy's real good, you gotta let him in. You know, these guys have either battled through incredible odds last year, trying to get some big damage, incredible odds last year, earning a lot of EPT points, or through what I can only describe as just brutal, basically double qualifiers. You got to make it through the open qualifiers and then through the closed as well. Really tough run for everybody here. So no question, these are the top tier players, and we're seeing some top tier strategies as well. Steadfast, look at this. We got a sneaky little dark shrine, but look at that Zergling corpse just next to it. I believe Bly has seen what's going on.
Yeah, just gonna take a look at his vision here, make sure that he has, and yeah, he absolutely has. And well, that is value right there. That is value for sure.
Yeah, Steadfast, let me ask you a math question here. If player B for Bly, has 1 Zergling, and he trades away 50 minerals of Zergling to get a view on a Dark Templar shrine, how much value is that?
Well, that's an excellent question. I think that's less of a math question, more of a philosophy question. But I think the answer is potentially infinite, because it could be the difference between winning and losing the game. This is kind of cool, by the way, in terms of the actual build order choice, because we have not seen much DT drop play overall for a while. We are going to see those DTs starting to warp in just outside of the slow acceleration zone. Oh, and look at what Drogo's got cooking up there. He's going to be going for a proxy Nexus at that island.
Yeah, he is. I love that. Using the Warp Prism to drop a pile, or a probe rather, down at this low base, this 12 o'clock base, and God, Bly's going to counter drop him as well. Let's see if these DTs can get anything done here in the third base.
Looks like the answer is pretty much no. Excellent defense. Literally the first units going down right now are these Zerglings, and we're going to see this drop into the main base. Ooh, Drogo spots it very early with that patrolling stalker. Excellent move right there. The funny thing is, if he had actually dropped these Zerglings in that other base, that kind of island spot that, of course, he doesn't know about at the moment, but if he had known about it, they would have gotten the cancel pretty much for free. Now, they do still find 2 probes, which is pretty nice. But yeah, Bly has no idea. And now we're going to see the Archon morph coming in from that DT drop on the top side.
Yeah, but it's been spotted, of course. This Overseer from Bly making good progress out on the map to try and see what's going on. I love this base, though, from Drogo. You know, can we talk about Blackburn for a little while, our map here? Because Steadfast Blackburn is now, what, 2 months old, give or take, on the ladder, maybe? And I think when maps first come out, the response from the community is always very reactionary, and it's always sort of the very first knee-jerk reaction, which on Blackburn, if I recall correctly, was, what a boring map. Everybody always just uses this low ground, like, movement between the third bases, right? And as the map has been maturing, we're seeing players trying some new things, trying some exciting things, and really utilizing the maps to their full potential. You know, I talk to a lot of map makers, and I can tell you, the map makers might know a thing or two about how maps play and how maps evolve, and it is no mistake that this map has a couple secrets that the players simply haven't unlocked yet. As this map matures, the games are going to keep getting better and better, and we're going to see things like this hidden base at the 6 o'clock position.
Yeah, it's really cool. We do see this drop getting deflected in the main base. I just want to go on the record and say I am one of those knee jerks.
Yeah,
you
are a jerk.
I will always. Ooh, look at this. There we go. Nice scout from Bly. Does spot that. He's had that Overlord at the third base for so long. He's like, you would either be here with a massive army, or you've got a third base somewhere. And yeah, he's gonna come in, and Drogo's gonna have a tough time dealing with this.
Yeah, this is obviously the downside of taking this base that's so isolated from other bases, is that you've got to move your army out in time. And look at the army right now for Drogo. There's 2 Archons, which is great. There's 2 Immortals, which is great. And then there's like nothing else. A massive crap ton of sentries, and that's all. He's got the Archons up in the base to try and deflect from the top side. He's got these other units down on the bottom side. This is really, really good positioning from Drogo, despite being very late to the party.
Nice. Yeah, no kidding. Nice little snipe right there on the 1 sentry. Corrosive Bile did trigger that barrier. It really feels like Drogo right now is trying to trap Bly up that ramp, but Bly, a little bit too wise, did move those roaches back down. And, but now he's going to get trapped the other direction. Oh, but the force fields are so late from Drogo. He could have cut that army right in half. Instead, he loses every single sentry. Oh, this is a disaster, actually. And he loses the Immortal. No hot pickup right there. And now this Warp Prism is going to get Corrosive Biled. That's probably game.
That's probably game. And like you're like, oh no, it's not game. Look, Bly's getting cleaned up here. Obviously, Drogo's gonna do fine, but pick up that battle report and show the people back home just how gruesome that was for Drogo. Both Immortals, 1 Warp Prism, and a handful of other units, including 5 sentries going down in that fight. And Bly already with more roaches to keep pushing on this, I want to say proxy Nexus almost, at the bottom 6 o'clock position.
Yeah, blink forward on these roaches to try and find some of them. If those Archons had gone down, this would have been so much worse for Drogo, but it actually ends up not being that bad since he cleaned up everything. Some really good splash damage there. And now these roaches are kind of a little bit trapped. Oh, well, no, I'm still okay with that blink. That's a lot of roaches going down. So all of a sudden, things kind of turn on their head. So many more sentries being warped in here. Wow, 5 force fields being used right there. Honestly, to kill roaches that I think were probably already dead, so a little bit too maybe over the top right there.
A little overzealous from Drogo, to be sure, but he wanted to protect his bottom 6 block base, and at least he accomplished that. I was going to say, if you pull up the income graph there with the one key on your numpad, if you've got it, that income graph slowly swinging in Bly's favor. Of course, this 4th gold base going to help out a lot, but that's not quite as healthy of an income graph as you'd usually like to see, Steadfast, if you're a Zerg player playing against a Protoss. Usually you want to get an income advantage and maintain it for the whole game. Bly just a little behind. His Ling Run by going to get pushed back, and this is a big push from Drogo here, who's ahead in both army value and army supply. That army value tab is out of this world, Steadfast. Wow.
Yeah, he is doubling the army value, actually, of his opponent. And there's no upgrades here for Bly either. He's going for this Burrow and Tunneling Claws. Oh, another awkward Observer dying to a Spore Crawler. We are going to see a counterattack on this 4th base, and that will force out that recall there. Well, I guess this is the 3rd base, technically. DT Warpin actually would have been enough to shove this back. But still, I'm okay with the recall, I think.
Yeah, not a bad recall there at all. You know, it feels like it's always a win if you're like, oh, I forced the Protoss player to recall. But honestly, I think Drogo defending that base is a really good shot. And now he's got a fantastic push going forward. Now, does he have any observers with this push? Oh my god, no, he doesn't. If these roaches were able to burrow, they might be able to get some to save themselves. But I think the army supply from Drogo is just going to be too much here. And there's only roaches and ravagers in the field right now, with +1 finish for Drogo and +2 already on the way. He's in a huge advantage to move forward.
Yeah, no kidding right now. This is getting really uncomfortable here for Bly, and another blink forward on top of the army. Bly is trapped, and he doesn't have enough to fight. I thought for sure things were going to really turn against Drogo there, but he was able to, after getting trapped up in the corner, he was able to counter-trap his opponent, took out all of those, and now we're looking at a game 3.
We're looking at a game 3 indeed, Steadfast. Drogo and Bly tied up 1-1 right now. As we get ready for a game 3, guys, we're going to hop to a very short, let's call it let's do a 2-minute commercial break. Why not? We don't want to keep the people from too much StarCraft, Steadfast. And we'll be right back for game 3 with Bly and Drogo after this.
Absolutely. We will be right back. Stick around. And we are back. Once again, game number 3. Oxide is our map. Drogo Bly is the fight. Who do you think is going to take this one?
Man, if you guys saw the first 2 games, you know that is an impossible question, Steadfast. Bly looking so strong, so unbreakable in game number 1, and Drogo bouncing back so hard, taking a unique strategy in game number 2, And even though his opener didn't work, he played the rest of the game so solid. I'd like to put my money on Bly here because I'd love to see him start with a win, but I think this is a flip of a coin here. Either player has a chance, in my opinion, Steadfast.
Yeah, it's an any given Sunday scenario for sure. Once again, these guys have played many times throughout their careers, so I'm really looking forward to this one. And without further ado, here we go. Game number 3. Spawning down in the bottom left position. It is the Blue Zerg player. Give it up for Bly on fire.
Bly is on fire. Every time. I can't resist. I can't resist. And to the top right-hand side here in the red, representing France, currently teamless. He is the little chemist. It is PtitDrogo.
Love me some Drogo.
So Steadfast, something people may not know about you is you're Canadian, right?
I am.
Now, did you learn French in like elementary school?
Je ne peux parler français. Je suis un anglophone.
I'm suddenly very hungry for some snails. I assume that's what you said.
Yes, yeah. I love me some escargots.
I was just wondering if you spoke more French than I did, and the answer is clearly you do. Drogo, just a fabulous French player. France has been such a strong StarCraft 2 country for so long, and I love that we've seen Kleb now sort of rising up like a phoenix through the ranks to represent France again, because it has been since the days of Stefano that France has been like a truly dominant force in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, it's been a really long time, actually. Like, and it's, first of all, it's pretty awesome that we are seeing that, like you said. But it's kind of due, you know? I think the next one is maybe a German player to be that super dominant force, because, of course, we have Raynor and Cyril, who are the only players. Well, that's not fair at all, actually. There's some really good players in Finland, and Baby Marine and Pippi Bardino in Italy are pretty good too, and Ryu and Ryosis even are quite good.
Yeah.
But the real superstar countries have always been Poland, Germany, France, Russia.
Yeah, no doubt. I would love to see another great German player. I mean, Hero Marine, obviously, one of the top couple, which is fantastic. But yeah, it'd be really cool to see a German player just rising up through the ranks. I agree. But I got to disagree. I don't think Germany's next. I think the next great player is going to be from Denmark. I think that's gonna be it, man. There's one player I've got in mind, Steadfast, that I think is just looking real solid.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We're on the same page. It's going to be Baby Knight. Baby Knight's going to come back out of retirement. He's going to switch back from Dota 2, and he's going to be like, "Yep, I've got it. I'm making it happen." Of course, you are talking about Max Pax. Max Pax, the so smart, such a strong player. He is such a, as Roddy would say, force to be reckoned with. And look at this Adept Shade. He's going to be able to catch these two lings. Very neat little kind of relay going on right there, but excellent moves from Drogo to anticipate where those Zerglings were going and make sure that they could not get away. Meanwhile, we've got Bly building a couple of extra Zerglings here just to deal with this double Adept, but he may take a little bit of damage while those lings are popping out.
Yeah, he might. We'll see if this Oracle gets anything done. The Adepts, again, getting sniped, though. One more goes down, and let's see. If you're the Protoss player, Steadfast, losing just one Adept right off the bat here, not good at all. Not good at all what you want to see. And, Bly getting into the Scout. He's going to see this third gateway going down on the low ground. Or second gateway rather going on the low ground. He's going to get in and see the Oracle as well. Should have plenty of time to get his defense in place. Spore Crawler's already down here. I feel like Bly is in a really, really good spot.
Yeah, no, that was actually really nice. He did actually catch that second Adept with the Zerglings chasing it down. They were kind of set up for where the shade was. Oh, and he's going to grab the probe, too. That is really nice. Anything to delay the third base, always a good move. Always a good move. And, well, it is that double Oracle that we saw in game number 1. No quick DT drop here. And, honestly, getting Drogo to use that Oracle's Pulsar Cannon defensively and buying himself some more time where he doesn't need to worry about losing drones, that's really great. That's a big win.
It's these little tiny things, you know, and if you just watch StarCraft casually, you kind of be like, oh, what do you got? Thing. Nothing's happened this game, but it's all these little tiny adjustments. And Steadfast, you're a Grandmaster player, right?
Yeah, from
Masters,
time to time.
yeah, occasionally Grandmaster player, and you can attest to this. But I've heard players say things like, "Oh, I saw his drone move. His scouting drone moved in a weird pattern in my natural, and that's how I knew he was up to some sneaky strategy or something." Like the smallest differences make huge waves later in games for these players.
Yeah, no kidding. There are little tiny tells that a lot of people below the pro level just won't pick up on. And ooh, look at this. No queen at the third base. That means this double oracle gonna find a lot of damage, getting 6, 7, 8 drones. No, not gonna come in. And nice save from Bly, but that was a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Blind knows it. Look at this. Queen's popping across. He is rebuilding a few drones back home to get back up, but that was really nice damage. Just like in the previous game, Steadfast, we see Drogo on pretty early third base, or at least a reasonably timed third base, with a very good worker count compared to his Zerg opponent here. This is looking really good for Drogo.
Yeah, especially with these adepts slipping into the natural expansion. This is a hard committed all-in from Bly on just Hatch Tech. And, well, Drogo, he is going to pop the battery overcharge. And this natural is a little bit exposed, but the battery overcharge is going to help buy time a lot. And, well, Corrosive Biles will not get this cannon down just yet. Oh, one of the queens does go down, but the oracles will eventually go down as well. Sentries from the back. They're not going to pop their force fields. Oh, well, there they go.
Yeah, there it is. Right on top of the queens. This has been about the worst engagement in a long time. Moving out prematurely with just a handful. Unfortunately, that engagement not getting anything done. Corrosive Bile's not focused enough to pick down the photon cannon. The shield battery overcharge timing just perfect. And yeah, he's going to get a few stalkers back in the backside. This third base, maybe a little bit of pressure, but he's lost 12 drones behind this. And he's going to be forced to go more or less off in here. Finished up a few more drones back home, but this looks like a really rough position for Bly now, Steadfast.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And the biggest thing, this still could have been a break out of Bly, especially if he hadn't lost those drones. But Drogo is on 6 gateways. So similar to, I think, game 1, I think he really prioritized production, anticipating an attack like this out of Bly. And, well, it didn't work out for him in game number 1, but it worked out in spades in game number 3. And, I mean, it's a really rough position for Bly right now. He is catching up in that worker count, but he just now started his lair. That is so insanely late.
Classic 7.5-minute lair timing out of Bly. You know, this is some Bronze League nonsense that happens in my games, Steadfast, where you're just like, you go for the all-in, it doesn't work, and you go, oh, okay, well, I guess lair behind this then. But really, the income is the big problem right now. As you said, Bly kind of catching up on workers, but he's been behind in workers the entire game. He's been even on bases more or less the entire game. And if you're playing a Zerg player, it's just not good enough. More gateways go down here for Drogo. Not only walling off his third in a really cute way, but also getting him set to power up for a big push on +1 armor.
Yeah, I'm confused by that +1 armor. That, I have never seen that ever in PvZ.
Charge lots. Always +1 armor with charge lots, Steadfast. Genuinely, I think a lot of players favor, especially Drogo, but a lot of players favor +1 armor for their Protoss if they're going for a charge lot build, or they're adding charge lots in later, especially against Roach Ravager, because the charge lots last so much longer with the +1 armor. Like, if they have +1 attack, it's great, but they only get the 1 attack before they die, whereas if they've got armor, they can usually get a couple extra swippity swipes in, because if they charge, they're going to get the initial charge off anyway.
Well, we are going to be seeing this army moving out to the left side. Blink 4 does force that cancel, and this is a cute little move from Bly. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. We do have the Zerglings popping back out, and Bly says, oh, I hope your army left, and Drogo's like, well, it didn't, and then the base just gets canceled. Oh, great warp in right there, right in order to block that, and now we'll see a recall come down, and yeah, he gets 1 probe for this. Which is, you know, he gets 2 probes. Oh, double your value. Wow.
I'm a little surprised, Steadfast, honestly, that Drogo retreated so quickly, recalled so quickly to that. Yeah, the Dropper Lord play is cute. We've seen Bly do it on Blackburn in our previous game, but it really doesn't get that much done. Now, the Dropper Lords can be really fantastic, and distracting your opponent, maybe getting some probes down, but forcing a recall out of Drogo is like a way bigger victory for Bly than he could have hoped for, I think. Going to help out quite a bit that he's already forced that recall back, and Bly is going to struggle, I think. He's on 5 bases now. He's going for Infestation Pit, but his tech is just so late. He's got no real response, especially not to these DTs steadfast. Not only that, the army of Drogo coming down the middle of the map as well.
Yeah, I really like the combo of utilizing the DTs to distract, and either you deal with the DTs and the army gets in a good position, or you don't deal with the DTs and you lose the base, and it's going to be that second one. And in fact, we're going to see another cancel coming down here, I think. Oh, great force fields right there. Banelings will get choked on up. Oh, one of them does splash on those sentries, but it's not enough. And Drogo knocks out 2 bases in a matter of moments. And Bly, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on here.
Did you ever watch the movie, the TV show Supermarket Sweep, Steadfast?
I am familiar, yeah.
Okay, you're familiar. He definitely got the 2-for-1 discount on those bases. Like 2 for the price of 1. Shouldn't have happened. Bly should have defended at least one of those positions and failed to do that. He's just stretched so damn thin right now. Oh, look at that, a little force field. I think there's another F word that PtitDrogo is probably trying to use there with that force field on the ramp of the third, but he's still got the Warp Prism available. He's warping in more Stalkers, and the army supply way in the Frenchman's favor. It does look like Drogo gonna pull out of a game 1 loss here and take the victory. GG.